Hello folks, Chris Varley from the Trade Idea Support and Education team here. We're going to do a video that focuses on automated trading. First thing I want to cover in automated trading is that while our premium users can automate their own strategies, these are strategies that premium users have to build themselves. I just want to be clear, there's no such thing as a bot that you could just simply buy and plug in and make money in the stock market or crypto market or anything else like that. Anybody that tells you something that exists like that, they're likely a scammer. And please protect your money. That's the most important thing out there, is protecting your assets, protecting your hard-earned money. So with us having covered that there's no such thing, unfortunately, as a bot you could just plug in and make money, let's move into what automated trading with Trade Ideas is. We have a feature called an alert window, and users can take the alert windows, create one from the 500 plus real-time data points that we have. You would then, after creating that scan, want to back test and optimize that, and optimize it without curve fitting. Curve fitting, something we'll go over shortly here. Once you have optimized it and back tested it to a place you think may be a viable strategy, you would then load it into our Brokerage Plus interface, paper trade that through our Brokerage Plus interface for a short while or long while, depending on how you feel about that. Should the back testing, optimization, the paper trading all go well, that's where you would move into live trading with one of our participating brokers. Some other points of clarification on this video, just real quick. We're heading into the most advanced stuff within Trade Ideas itself. So if you don't understand alert windows yet, it's something you're going to have to go back into other videos and documentation, really become familiar with those items. I have another video that covers backtesting in great detail. Whether you watch this video first or that video first, that could be entirely up to you. If you decide you want to see that video first, pause at this point, come back to this video here. So with those things said, and other items that we'll bring in, circle and cover, let's get to the alert window and the back testing part real quick on this, and then we'll show how we load a strategy into the Brokerage Plus interface and set it for automation. We're going to put it in paper trading automation right here on this video. So first thing we're going to do is navigate to our new tab right here, and we're going to look for alert window. Go ahead and open that alert window. Now, depending on where you are in your Trade Ideas journey, you may have changed the default settings in this or not. Every person, when they open a Trade Ideas window, the default setting here is going to be breaking out on volume, and you're going to have a number of different items that are in the window specific columns already, and you'll be pre-selected here in the selected alerts tab to our new high. They're just defaults that we set people up with. A lot of people want momentum scans, so it's kind of set up for a momentum type template. We can do anything we want with this here. So at that point, you may want to erase the values that are within here. You could always press the hide unused columns. That'll drop some of those columns from there. And if you want to know more about these different tabs and columns and so on and so forth with Scan, again, those are covered in other videos at other times and other places. So the first thing we would do is we want to come up with an idea for a scan. So, momentum trading happens to be a very popular one. There are many different items in here that can relate to momentum trading. The way we have this set up here is, bullish green, bearish red, as general up and downs. Again, these are different things that are covered in different areas, so I don't want to spend too much time on the basic items, as there's different education for basic items. We are assuming at this point that we're very familiar with Trade Ideas and the market and market mechanics. So, again, advanced terms we're going to go into here, and we're going to move quickly now. So we're going to build that alert window, and let's just say we wanted to build something with, I'm going to go with our running up. We're going to use the running up now, or excuse me, the running up, not the running up now, out of the running up family. You can see there's different items that are in here when we type in running. We're going to go ahead and add that alert. We're going to swap out from my default alert. We're going to get rid of the default alert. So now we're using the running up alert. I'm going to come to the window specific filters and just start to build some things that are in here from where I like to generally start building. We're going to put a price floor at $11 on this. We are going to head back in the search. Let's start looking for some items that we can go with here. So let's go with RSI. All right, maybe we want a 2-minute RSI. We want to see stocks are really kicking at this point. Maybe want to come back in the search. We want to see that we are VWAP. Distance from the VWAP 1 is going to be your VWAP today. Let's add that filter here. You're going to see that we're 2% above it, perhaps. Let's come back. Bollinger. And you want some Bollinger Band action here, and we're going to add that filter as well. And we're going to go with 90. We're going to see that we're near the top of that 5-minute band here. Let's make sure we got some volume kicking on it for today. Let's go with 750,000 shares, minimum traded on the day. And that's the basis for what we could do for a scan. If we press OK, it'll bring us to the summary tab. It's kind of told us what we've done here with the new alert. We're going to change that. Like I said, you may have a different default name. This is what I've set my default up to be. And we're going to call it automated video test. So that's where we will start with that there. Alrighty, now let's move into a little back testing with this. So we've got this, we've got it labeled. Let's press OK and scan populator on my other screen. Let me pull that over. There we go. So we got the scan here, and we're going to right click. We're going to come into the back testing here, and I'm not going to go too far into details with the back testing. But one of the things I want to cover with the back testing is what curve fitting is. So we're going to back test. All right, and let's just say we want to start this series of tabs here that we got to go over. Again, backtesting video really go into more details of this. We're just going to kind of open this up a little bit here. We're going to go quickly through these items. I'm going to set a few different items with profit loss or profit targets and so on, and get us a full skew of back testing. And there we go. So we're going to run the back tester, and it's going to give us some numbers. Generally, the back tester goes very quick. Sometimes a little slower than others. If you find it being slow, just keep resetting your connection here in the account. Reset it, see how it reacts, reset it, see how it reacts. There we go, we finished off. So looking back at the back tester here, we've got the profit factor. We can see how many trades were taken. This will max out at, I believe, 6,100 trades. So if you see 6,100 trades there over that time period that you're using, that means you got to really to refine that scan a lot. Too many trades, just that simple. Again, not going to go into too much detail on those items. Cover a lot of that in the back testing video. We can see our average winners for 39 cents, our average losers for 35 cents. Here's the strategy return, projected annual return, so on and so forth. How we're share sizing, starting equity, buying power required to run the strategy. And then we can add different commissions, trade size, so on and so forth. And we get those different equity curves that are in here. Real quick on the optimization. All right, we can come to the optimization tab. Price and time are two tabs that are on their own that you can use to help optimize the scan. And then there's other filters. And in the other filters drop down, you've got every filter that we have access to in Trade Ideas in here to go over and optimize your scan with, and see how each filter, whether you're using it in the scan or not, applies to the scan and could refine and give you better results. So for example, we could look at something like, let's see, the 2-minute RSI, because we put a 2-minute RSI in here. We can see anything, above a certain 2-minute RSI isn't great, and then it gets good again like that. And so there's ways that we can kind of chop off some of the fat on this whole thing. We can see how many trades are in each one of these sections, all right, and how that impacts. Now, where curve fitting comes in, and this is very important, is when we start to keep adding different filters. You can see our filters are up here, and we add filter and add filter and add filter. Based on adding these filters, and the values of these filters will make the scan better. And next thing you know, we've got 25 filters in here with very specific values that are in those. Well, that can become curve fitting, meaning we're fitting the data perfectly to history, leaving us no wiggle room for the future, essentially. So there's that fine line between optimization and curve fitting. Further explanation on curve fitting, and as far as strategies go and back testing, I'm sure there's some web searches out there that could go into much better and further details, and maybe I can technically explain to you like that. But again, curve fitting or over optimization is something we want to avoid. So we've got the back test. Let's say we've optimized to where we want to be living, and we're happy with the scan. The next thing we would do is this. We would come to the scan. We right click and save or share that scan to cloud. We're going to click that, and we're going to save it. Once we've done that, that scan is now up in our cloud. Again, All these things that I'm going over, if you are at the point where you're looking to automate, you should understand all these trade ideas items already. And if you don't, you really have to go back and get the basics down through different videos and user guide sections that we have. Reach out to us, info@trade-ideas.com via email, or during market hours, come to our live support chat and ask there as well. We'll get you the documentation that you need to get you forward and understanding some of these more basic items that are an absolute must to automation. So we're going to go file, load from cloud, and we can see that that's there. All right, so we've confirmed it's in our cloud. We're good to go there. We're going to now come to the strategies tab here in Brokerage Plus. Again, you may have various defaults that are in there. I generally tell people ignore the defaults, worry about those. We're going to right click inside the blue area and we're going to go load from cloud. Okay, once we have loaded from cloud, we're going to see that right there, our automated video test. We'll double click that and we're going to add it to existing. And now we can see that that's there. Now, once we've done that, we can go ahead and we can connect to the paper trader if we're not connected already. And then we're going to right click that strategy and go to edit trading strategy. In here, we're going to have a series of tabs and these are all very important. We're going to start at the configuration first. All right, make sure that we're set to long or short, whatever we wanted. We got the strategy name there. In here's where we could see the different strategy items. If we wanted to reconfigure anything, we could come into it really quickly in there. Down here's accounts. There's two parts to Brokerage Plus. We connect to the broker, but people can have many accounts in one broker, right? So once we've connected to the broker, now we need to connect the specific account that we want here. I have a number of different paper accounts in there for different testing. We're just going to go to TI Paper Trading. And we'll press save and we're done. And now we can see that there. In the entry time, anything that we had in our back test, those should all be there as instructions within the Brokerage Plus strategy edit. So whatever times we selected to start and stop the strategy are going to be here. There's some new instructions here. Send orders for a symbol at most once per day for the strategy. Send orders even when holding exists for a symbol. We could stop sending after a certain amount of orders or entries, or we could stop filling after a certain amount of order entries. And please disregard the custom route. There's nothing that you need to worry about at all. Pretend it doesn't even exist, please. A very, very important note in automation. If you have a strategy or you have multiple strategies that are going to trade the same stock, you need on those multiple strategies to point them at different accounts. And if you don't have different accounts, then you need to not run those strategies at the same time. What will happen is this. The broker does not know you're automating your strategy. It does not know that you have things labeled and named with specific stop losses as you enter positions. So what will happen is if you have the same stock traded over and over again and those orders are open, all your bracket orders for your opening, your target, and your stop, if you have them, and your time stop, if you're using that as well, can overlap each other and fight each other. So if you opened Apple with trade A, with alert A, for example, and here's your entry, and here is your target, and here's your stop, and then Apple goes up a little bit, and now you get a new alert, and you re-enter here. Now you have a new target there and a new stop here, and then you fall, and you hit that stop, for example. Now, even though that's the B entry's stop, the A entry could get its stop triggered there. And the share sizing could be different if you're using different share sizing based on stop losses and so on and so forth. And next thing you know, you have open orders for the wrong close positions. And this will lead you to getting into short positions, mismanagement of trades. So again, your strategy cannot trade the same stocks over and over again if you're not moving around to multiple accounts like that. So again, this goes into the very, very advanced stuff of market mechanics, not even just our software. So with all of that said, you may want to consider the send orders at most once per day, right, for a symbol. That will take care of that problem in that specific strategy. Let's move on to the orders tab. You want to make sure that this is working based on what you've done in the back test. You can do a fixed amount of dollars. There's some different, or there's some more advanced features you can do here that you couldn't do in the back testing. So if you want to fix shares, fix dollars, or you're basing on a stop loss instead, if you were basing on the stop loss, we come to the risk management tab and we would go ahead and set that as a percent or dollar. Do not use filter. Do not use filter. Say it after me. I will not use the filter for my stop loss or my target. You will stick to dollar and percent, please and thank you. Back to the orders tab, we would then decide how much are we risking per trade on that, saying that we want to risk $100, we want to risk $500 based on a 3% stop loss essentially, and it will calculate the share size you need for that risk using those in combination with each other. Back to the orders tab, are we getting in at a limit order? If we use a limit order, what are we using for the offset? If you're not familiar with the offset, just very quickly, a negative offset means you're willing to give up a certain amount of money to get into the trade. A positive offset means you want a better fill than what you're currently being offered on the bid and ask, essentially, which gives you a higher risk of not being filled. By giving up and using the negative number, you get a higher percentage of being filled on that. Use last price as your reference again. Do not change that, please. You want to set your time and force here, whether it's day, good to cancel, so on and so forth. Back to the risk management tab here. You have your hard stop loss, dollars or percent that you could set that in. You have your hard target, dollars or percent you could set that in. You do not have to have a stop loss. You do not have to have a target. Our trailing stop is a little fickle. You can use a trailing stop with Interactive Brokers. You cannot use, as of this video, you cannot use a trailing stop with Alpaca, and you cannot use a trailing stop with E-Trade as well. They just don't work. It's their API. It's not our choice. If we had our way, we'd be able to use those items. As of this video, we are working on a TradeStation connection. As of this video, which was done January 15th, 2026, that TradeStation connection is still several weeks away. So you may consider that as your broker in the future. At this time, while we're working on the TradeStation API, we do not know whether the trailing stop for that will or will not work. So please circle back with us on that if you have a question for that. One final note is you cannot have a stop loss and a trailing stop at the same time. That is not something you can do. It would be like having two stop orders, and your broker will not let you put two stop orders in. That's just market mechanics. Last but not least is the hold time. Now, when we were back testing and optimizing, this has gone over in our optimizing video. Again, hopefully you've watched that at this point before you've gotten here. You have to have a hold time in back testing. Once we get to live trading, we do not have to have a hold time. So we can see right now we'd add a hold time set of 10 minutes on there. I can just click that to none and it's done. Of course, there are also, we could exit at a specific time of day. And then for those that are making swing trades, this would copy over if you were working on a swing trade strategy for automation like that. So that is the ins and outs of setting all those items in there. So we've gone ahead. Let's see. Let's get them set for us for this here. We're going to just take a fixed amount of shares. We're going to take 100 shares. We're going to give a risk management here. We're going to give a percent of 5. We're going to give on stop loss, we're going to give a percent of 3. On target, we're going to give a percent of 6. So a nice 2-to-1 ratio. And we're going to give it a hold time. We're going to give it that hold time of 10 minutes. So we've gone ahead, we've set that. Our order details, we're going to go with a market order here. Let's come back to the entry time. We're sending orders at most once. We're going to have this go live now. We had a 10 a.m. earliest start, but we're a little bit after noon today on the day we're doing this here. And we're going to not stop filling after any specific amount of orders. We're going to go ahead and press OK. And now those instructions are all in there, all right? And so we can see this live here, and we're going to right-click. We see on the strat that it's off. We're going to right-click, and we're going to go to strategy disabled, click to enable, and now we see on. And so now we're going to wait a moment here, and we're going to come to the positions tab, and we're going to look at the paper trader here. We're just going to make that look right at it. And we're going to bear with me for a few moments here, folks. Hopefully, we'll have an alert coming through any moment on this strategy for us. Some other items that I would like to cover here. When it comes to the automation part of this, there's no defined time you should actually be paper trading it. That's going to be completely up to you. But, more data is always better. So, paper trading through, some markets when the days are up and when the days are down give you a much better look at all this. The second part of this is, especially through the paper trading, and should the paper trading go well and you go live, there'll be drawdowns. You have to be able to sit through your drawdowns. What do I mean by that? The strategy won't just print money only. You're going to have to take your losses with it. That's the way trading works in general. But by trading this way, you become much more systematic. And that's when you hear about, we need to remove emotions from trading and so on and so forth. We're emotional beings. We can't remove emotions. But if we have a system and we simply follow it, regardless of what our emotions tell us, that's how we remove our emotions from it, by following systematic trading only. That is where you start to separate the really professional traders from the people that are, maybe they are professional, maybe they're eking out a living, but the folks that are able to do that and really separate out all that they're doing, discretionary from the system, they make that next big leap into trading. That it is not an easy leap for some folks to make into trading. So we're still biding a little time here while we wait for this to automate in and show us all the things we want to see here. Some other items that you may want to consider when you're doing your back test or you're creating an automated strategy. We have what we call a symbols list feature. So you may want to only trade a basket of stocks. Maybe there's some kind of big large caps that you want to trade and you're looking for some kind of way to create trending in it. Whether it's SMAs or linear regression, alerts or filters or anything like that. You could always use that. So there we go. We got the alert, IMSR. We see IMSR, 100 shares. Here's our entry. Here's our target. Here's our stop. All right, let's click on that and let's see it populate here into our charts. So it looks very beautiful here for us. Different charts will give you different looks. So, I have a chart that's got our browser face selected here, showing us one set of items. And I've got our non-browser charts here with another set of items. So just a different look for different folks that like to do different things with the software here. We can also see timed exit. So we're exiting in 9 minutes. If I come to the orders tab, I can see all of those items right here. We've got the opening order. We've got the sell order. That's the stop. We've got the sell order. That's the limit, which is our target. And we have the time stop. We can see what time it's going to exit us on that trade at. Some other items that we could do in here if we wanted, of course, if we weren't staying completely systematic for one reason or another, you could always drag these orders around on the charts just like that. We could always select and flatten the trade and so on and so forth. These are things that are covered in other items. Again, goes back into other education videos. So this is automated trading with trade ideas here. Again, to recap how this all works, hopefully you've all made it to the end of this video. We have an idea for a strategy. We don't necessarily have to have a solid, full idea for it, but an idea of what we want to do. We would then build it with the alert window. That's in the configure here. Once we've built that out, we would then move towards, we've got another BSKY is coming as well. Very nice. We would then back test and optimize that strategy without curve fitting, which we've gone into some detail. Once we've gotten to that point, we would save that strategy to the cloud as we showed here. We load it from the cloud into Brokerage Plus. Once loaded in Brokerage Plus, we'd go over the finer details of the order tab in there. And then we would move to enable into the paper trading. And again, if this should go well for whatever period of time you deem it needs to go well for, move into the live trading with the participating brokers. Appreciate you all for hanging and watching. Hopefully we've cleared some things up. Hopefully a few people made it to the end of this, and hopefully we find some folks that are able to get to that next level of automated trading. I'll end the video with saying this. We certainly have a group of traders out there that have automated their trading. It is not easy. There's no shortcuts on this, but those groups that have done it, clearly high beneficiaries of the highest functions of trading and our software that are out there. It's hard work, It doesn't necessarily come quickly, unfortunately, but the benefits are unbelievable upside as you can continue to scale your strategies larger and larger for larger share size, which can lead to larger drawdowns, but certainly lead to the larger profits as well. Again, thank you all for watching. If you have questions, shoot us an email, info@trade-ideas.com, or come start a live chat during market hours on our website, trade-ideas.com. Thanks for watching. Take care, folks.